We spend a massive amount of time on this show deconstructing really complex systems.
All the time.
We've looked at the global economy. We've looked at AI neural networks, organizational hierarchies.
Right.
But today we are looking at a system that is, well, arguably more complex,
Definitely more volatile.
and it impacts our daily happiness, a lot more than interest rates do.
We were talking about marriage.
We are. Or, more broadly, any long-term committed relationship.
Specifically the architecture of them.
And I don't mean the legal contract or the tax benefits. We are diving into a framework by Tunde Disu that really, really challenges the gold standard of relationships.
Which is basically just longevity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Society tells us that the ultimate metric of a successful marriage is just how long it lasts.
Right. It's the survival model. If you make it to your 50th anniversary, you win.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you haven't had a real conversation in a decade.
Or if you sleep in separate rooms and, low-key resent each other. If you didn't get divorced, you're a success story.
But Disu argues that is a structural victory, not a spiritual one. And looking at his work today, this expansion on the Just Before You Do framework, it's basically a blueprint for understanding why so many stable, quote-unquote, successful couples feel.
Dead inside.
Yeah.
It is a heavy topic, but he uses the central metaphor that makes it instantly accessible.
The one about the house.
That's the one, he says. A lasting marriage builds the house. A thriving marriage makes it a home worth living in.
And I really want to stick a pin in that because it sounds like a greeting card at first, but he gets very literal with it.
Oh, he does.
He argues that we often confuse lasting with thriving. And today we're going to break down 3 specific areas where that confusion happens.
Safety versus security.
Logistics versus lore.
And transactional versus transformative conflict.
And we have that vitality audit to go through later, which is, honestly, it's a bit of a gut punch if you aren't ready for it.
It can be.
It is. But let's start with the foundation, the distinction between safety and security. Now, in normal conversation, those are synonyms. If I tell you I feel safe, I usually mean I feel secure.
Sure.
But in Disu's framework, these are actually distinct, almost competing layers.
I wouldn't say competing, but they serve very different functions. So in this model, safety is a characteristic of the lasting marriage. It is structural.
So what does that mean, structural?
Safety is about predictability. It's the contract. It's knowing the bills are paid. The partner isn't going to just walk out tomorrow. There's a roof over your head.
So it's risk mitigation. It's insurance.
Exactly. And we have to be clear. You need safety. Disu isn't saying burn the house down and live in chaos.
Of course not.
You cannot have a relationship without that container. But safety is passive. It's about protection from risk, protection from loneliness, financial ruin, social stigma.
Right, but the trap is thinking that safety is the destination.
That's it.
Because you can be safe and be completely stagnant. I could be safe in a bunker. I could be safe in a prison cell.
That is the perfect image, and that is where security comes in.
Which is the thriving marriage.
In a thriving marriage, security isn't about the external walls, it's internal. Disu defines security as emotional confidence.
I highlighted this list in the notes because it felt radical. He says security is the knowledge that you can be your weirdest, weakest, or most ambitious self and still be accepted.
And that weakest part is usually where people get tripped up.
Why is that?
In a purely safe marriage, one that is focused on structure, you often feel the need to hide weakness.
Yeah.
You have to maintain the role.
The character. I'm the provider.
Or I'm the supermom, or I'm the rational one. Because if you break character, you worry the strier might crack.
That makes so much sense. If the marriage is built on this premise of we are a stable unit, then me having a breakdown or me wanting to change careers feels like a threat to the unit.
The huge threat.
So safety effectively means walking on eggshells to keep the peace.
Often, yes. But security implies that the relationship is resilient enough to handle you falling apart. Disu asks this pivot question that I think is the anchor of this whole section.
But what about the harbor?
Yeah. Is your relationship a safe harbor or a secure base?
I want to dig into that because safe harbor sounds really nice. Who doesn't want a harbor?
Of course. A harbor is where you go to hide from the storm. It's a retreat. And that is valuable. We all need rest.
But you can't stay there.
If you stay in the harbor forever, you never go anywhere. A secure base is actually a concept from attachment theory, and it's also used in, military or mountaineering contexts.
It's a launching pad.
It's a launching pad. It's the place that gives you the confidence to go out into the scary world and take risks.
So let's make this concrete. If I'm in a lasting, safe marriage, I come home and say, the world is scary, let's lock the door and just survive.
Hunker down.
But if I'm in a thriving, secure marriage, I come home, get recharged, and my partner helps me say, okay, I'm going to go ask for that promotion.
Or I'm going to start that business, or I'm going to run that marathon. Precisely.
Yeah.
A thriving marriage propels you. It doesn't just protect you.
Yeah.
If your partner is your secure base, their belief in you overrides your self-doubt. You become more of yourself because of the relationship, not less.
That is a crucial distinction. I think a lot of people feel like they have to shrink to fit inside their marriage.
They do.
Like, I can't take that risk because it would disrupt our routine.
And that's prioritizing safety over security. And that leads directly to the second tension Disu identifies, which is about what actually consumes the mental energy of the couple.
Logistics versus lore.
Yes.
The tyranny of logistics.
Yes.
I feel like this is the default state of modern adulthood.
Oh, absolutely.
If you have jobs, maybe kids, a mortgage, the logistics are overwhelming.
It is the silent killer of romance. In the structural lasting marriage, the conversation is dominated by the maintenance of life. It's the business of we.
Who is driving the kids to soccer?
Did we pay the insurance premium?
What are we eating for dinner? When is the plumber come? It's just project management.
That's it.
You are effectively two co-founders of a nonprofit organization called...
Our Family Inc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're just in a perpetual board meeting.
And again, to be fair to the house, if you fail at logistics, the roof leaks and the lights go out.
You need logistics.
You need them. But Disu argues that a thriving marriage actively maintains something he calls lore.
I love this term. It sounds like we are talking about Lord of the Rings or a video game, the lore of the relationship.
Right.
But what does that actually mean in practice?
It's the narrative. It's the inner culture. It's the inside jokes that would make no sense to anyone else.
Okay.
It's the shared memories, the dreams, the story of us. It's the unique language you speak.
It's the content. If logistics is the operating system running in the background, lore is the actual app you want to use.
That is a great way to put it. Think about the beginning of a relationship. What do? You build lore.
Constantly.
Remember that time we got lost in Paris? Remember that weird waiter? Remember when we stayed up all night talking about aliens? You are weaving a story together.
But as the business of we takes over,
the lore stops getting updated.
you stop writing new chapters.
Yeah.
You were just rereading the introduction over and over again.
Or worse, you are just reading the instruction manual for the dishwasher.
Oh, that's bleak.
Disu has a reality check question here that stings. He asks, when was the last time you talked about something that had nothing to do with your to-do list as a couple?
That is heavy.
Yeah.
Because there are weeks where, if I'm honest, the answer is, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We talked for 10 hours. But it was all tactical. It was all housework.
And that is how the home becomes just a house. If you aren't talking about ideas or fears or just laughing at the absurdity of life, you are letting the spiritual connection atrophy.
You become roommates who share a mortgage.
Exactly.
So how do we get the lore back? Is it just go on a date night? Because date nights can be logistical traps too.
They absolutely can. Date nights help, but only if you ban the logistics talk. If you go to a fancy dinner and spend 2 hours talking about the bathroom renovation or the kids' grades, that is just a staff meeting with wine. Building lore requires curiosity, which we'll touch on in the audit. But first, we have to look at the third tension, because this is where the lack of lore usually explodes.
This is conflict,
Yes.
right? Transactional versus transformative conflict.
Yeah.
This is fascinating because most advice on fighting is about fair fighting or using I statements. It's about technique.
It is. But Disu changes the goal entirely. He reframes the purpose of the fight.
Okay.
In a lasting structural dynamic, conflict is transactional. It's a courtroom.
I did the dishes 3 times this week. You did them 0 times. Therefore, I win and you owe me.
Exactly. It is adversarial. It is about scorekeeping and accuracy. The goal is to prove you are right and the other person is wrong. You are the prosecutor, they are the defense.
And the problem is, even if you win the verdict, even if you prove logically that you did more chores,
You still lose.
you sleep on the couch.
You win the point, but the relationship loses. Because the focus is on the facts of the event, the dishes, the trash, the time you were late, not the feelings underneath.
Okay, so contrast that with transformative conflict.
That's the hallmark of a thriving marriage.
So what is the goal there?
Yeah.
If it's not to win, why are we arguing?
The goal is understanding. Disu says the couple asks a radical question. What is this argument teaching us about our needs?
That sounds incredibly difficult to do in the heat of the moment. You are angry, you are tired, and you're supposed to stop and ask, What is this teaching us?
It's so hard.
I feel like most people would just want to scream.
And you might, but it requires that security we talked about earlier. You have to be secure enough to drop your weapon. But here is the shift. In a transactional fight, the conflict is me versus you.
Right.
In a transformative fight, it is us versus the problem.
Can we apply this to a real example?
Yeah.
Let's take the classic, the dishes. It's a cliche for a reason.
Okay. Transactional fight, you're lazy, you never help out, I do everything.
And the defense says, I worked 12 hours today, cut me some slack.
Result. Defensiveness, resentment, maybe the dishes get done, but everyone is angry.
And the transformative version.
Transformative starts with curiosity. Why does a sink full of dishes trigger such a rage response in me?
Okay.
Maybe it's not about the dishes. Maybe it's, when I see the mess, I feel like my effort to make a nice home isn't valued. I feel invisible. I feel like a servant, not a partner.
Whoa. Okay. So now we aren't fighting about porcelain. We are fighting about validation.
And that is something you can actually solve. If your partner knows you feel invisible, they can address that. And suddenly, the conflict has transformed the relationship.
You know each other better than you did before the fight.
And the conflict actually adds to the lore. It becomes, we got through that, and now we understand each other deeper. The scar tissue becomes part of the strength.
But you can't do that if you are just trying to balance the ledger.
No way.
This all sounds great in theory. Secure base, rich lore, transformative conflict. But how do you, the listener, know where you actually stand?
Because it's easy to just nod along.
Yeah, and think, yeah, we are probably fine, when maybe you're just structurally sound.
That is where the vitality audit comes in. Dessous suggests rating yourself on 4 scales, 1 to 10. And I think we should walk through these because they are revealing.
And you have to be honest with yourself here.
Brutally honest.
Let's do it. Scale 1 is the curiosity scale.
The question is, how curious am I about my partner's current thoughts, fears, and dreams compared to 5 years ago?
The compared to 5 years ago is the killer.
It's everything.
Because early on, you are obsessed. You want to know their favorite color, their childhood pet, their weirdest fear. You are investigating them.
A1 on this scale is, I already know everything about them. I can predict their sentences. I have the map of their brain.
And a 10 is, I am constantly discovering new things.
If you are at a 1, you have decided your partner is a finished book. You have read it, put it on the shelf, and now you are just dusting it occasionally.
And the tragedy is, people change.
Constantly. Your partner is not the same person they were 5 years ago. They have new fears, new gray hairs, new ambitions. If you aren't curious, you are in a relationship with a ghost, a memory of who they used to be.
Scale 2. This one hit me hard. The energy exchange.
After spending an evening alone with my partner, do I feel drained, neutral, or recharged? 1 is drained, 10 is recharged.
Now, I know the introverts listening are screaming, people drain me, that's how I'm wired.
Right, and Dessous accounts for that. He says that in a thriving marriage, your partner should be the exception to the introvert rule. If being with your partner feels like work, if you feel like you have to perform or manage their emotions or walk on those eggshells, that drains you.
That goes back to safety versus security. If I'm just safe, I'm maintaining the structure. That takes effort.
It does.
If I'm secure, I can just be, and just being is recharging.
Precisely. If you consistently feel drained after hanging out with your spouse, your body is telling you that you are doing maintenance work during your downtime.
Okay, scale 3 connects to that. Vulnerability, safety.
How safe do I feel sharing a shameful thought or a crazy dream without fear of judgment or dismissal?
Shameful and crazy. Those are strong parameters. It's not just sharing your opinion on a movie.
They are the litmus test. It's easy to share a normal thought, like, I want to paint the kitchen.
Yeah.
But what about, I'm terrified I'm failing as a father, or I have this sudden desire to quit my corporate job and write a novel.
Or even, I'm jealous of your friend.
That's a huge one. If you are at a 1, you keep that inside because you don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to threaten the safety of the house.
And that leads to isolation. You can be married for 30 years and be completely alone if you can't share the crazy stuff.
That's the reality for a lot of people.
Finally, scale 4, the big one. The we versus I future.
The metric here is looking 10 years ahead. Is my partner's presence a requirement for my happiness or just a circumstance of my life?
Oof, a circumstance of my life. That sounds so clinical.
It is the definition of a structural marriage. I will be happy in 10 years because I'll have my pension, my garden, and my grandkids. My partner will be there too, I guess.
Where's a part of the furniture?
Part of a landscape. Versus a requirement, which means I cannot envision the version of happiness I want without them playing a central role in it.
It is the difference between "I'm married" being a box you checked on a census form.
And I'm married being the lens through which you see your future.
Okay, so let's say a listener does this audit, and the numbers are mediocre.
Not great.
Maybe they have great house bills paid, good parents, zero drama. But the home is empty. Low lore, transactional fighting, low curiosity.
This is the danger zone. This is where people drift apart or have affairs, not because they hate each other, but because they're starving for vitality.
They're starving for the garden.
Exactly.
So what do? Blow it up, start over. Because that feels like the modern solution. If it's not perfect, leave.
No. And this is the most important part of Disu's work. He offers a visualization exercise called the house versus the garden, and it is explicitly designed to stop people from throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Because the instinct is often, we aren't in love anymore, let's divorce.
Right, but Disu says, wait, the house is valuable. You spent years building that stability. Don't tear down the house just because the garden is dead.
Okay, walk us through the exercise. Step 1 is the house inspection.
Step 1. List 3 things that make the marriage last. These are your structural wins.
So things like,
We co-parent beautifully, we agree on financial goals, we are excellent roommates, we have each other's backs in a crisis.
and we need to validate this.
Yes, give yourself credit. Stability is an achievement. In a chaotic world, having a partner you can trust with your life is massive. Do not dismiss the house. That is the soil you need to grow anything.
Okay, step 2, the garden inspection.
List 3 things that make the marriage thrive. These are the vitality elements.
Like we laugh until we cry.
We have deep intellectual debates. We have passionate intimacy. We play together.
And if the page is blank, or if you can only think of things from 10 years ago,
Then you have your diagnosis. It's not that you are with the wrong person. It's that your management of the relationship is lopsided.
your house is fine.
Your garden is a dust bowl. You have been spending 100% of your energy fixing the roof and 0% watering the flowers.
Which leads to the pivot.
Okay.
Step 3, the just before pivot.
The name just before refers to that moment just before someone gives up.
Just before the affair. Just before the divorce papers.
Exactly. And Disu proposes a radical deal.
What's the deal?
The proposal is, what if we keep the house, keep the stability, the history, the assets, the family structure, but completely redesign the garden?
That feels manageable. It takes the pressure off.
It does.
You aren't saying our marriage is a failure. You're saying our allocation of resources is off.
It separates stability from stagnation. People think, if I want passion, I have to leave this boring, stable life. Disisu says, no, keep the stability. That is the safety net. Now, take a risk and plant something new in it.
It changes the mindset from fixing problems to creating experiences.
Exactly. Fixing problems is exhausting. It's drudgery. Planting a garden is creative. It's hopeful.
You aren't asking, why is the drain clogged?
You're asking, do we want to plant roses or tomatoes this year? Do we want a fountain?
So practically, this means you stop fighting about the dishes for a minute and start asking, how do we build new lore?
Yes. You might say, okay, we are great at being parents, but on Thursday nights, we are not parents. We are explorers.
We're going to take a salsa class.
Or start a book club for 2, or just drive to a town we've never been to.
You are purposefully injecting inefficiency into the system because efficiency is great for the house.
But it kills the garden. That is a brilliant insight. Efficiency kills the garden. Romance is inefficient. Long conversations are inefficient. Lore is inefficient.
But that is what makes it alive. It seems like the core message here is about agency.
I think so.
A lasting marriage is something that happens to you if you just don't quit. A thriving marriage is something you have to actively build.
A lasting marriage is about endurance. A thriving marriage is about intention. And the good news is, if you have the house, you have the best possible foundation to start planting.
You aren't starting from scratch.
You're starting from safety.
So if you are listening to this and realizing your garden is looking a little brown, it isn't a death sentence.
Not at all.
It is just a change of season.
Absolutely. The structure is there. Now you just have to decide what you want to grow.
We want to leave you with the final provocative thought from the source material. It is that question from the Just Before Pivot exercise.
It is a question to ask your partner tonight, or maybe just ask yourself in the car right now.
If you could keep the stability of your house, but completely redesign the garden, what is the first thing you would plant today?
Is it adventure? Is it intimacy?
Is it just a conversation that isn't about the logistics? Whatever it is, start digging.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
Go plant something. See you next time.
Right.